What's up, everybody? My name is Caleb, and these are my top 3 ETFs to buy and hold. So if you like this video, please hit the like button, comment what your 3 favorite ETFs are. Want to hear from you guys. Also want to see if we can build this channel up a little bit, but let's get right into it. So the first stock, my first favorite ETF, is going to be VGT. So it's a Vanguard technology fund. A little bit about this fund is, let's get into the details. So their top 3 holdings are Apple, Microsoft, and Visa. Okay, the expense ratio is going to be right around 0.1%, so really small expense ratio. I love these Vanguard funds because they're really pretty low cost and they give you quite a bit of exposure to the market. So this gives you exposure to the technology side of the market. Couple other things with VGT, they have a dividend right around 1.08%, but really they've had a really strong track record. You can go back and see it's mostly S&P 500 technology stocks that they're invested in, and you can kind of see the growth of that. I mean, the future is going more towards technology, so that's where I like to put my focus. And if I'm investing in an ETF, I want my exposure to be with those high-level companies that I sometimes can't afford to buy all of them, like Apple and Microsoft. They come at a pretty steep price right now. I know Apple's doing a 4-for-1 stock split, and so that'll kind of make it a little more affordable. But this gives you a chance to have exposure to those companies without having to put everything into those companies. So that's one I really like. Okay, so number two is going to be VOO, another Vanguard fund. Now this Vanguard fund is just an S&P 500 ETF. I really like the exposure you get with this one. So we'll go over some of the quick details here. The top 5 holdings for this one to give you an idea. It's going to be Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, and Facebook. So it's the top S&P 500 stocks. And this gives you exposure to the full S&P with paying a super small expense ratio. Their expense ratio comes in at 0.03%. So very small expense ratio, and gives you exposure to the S&P 500. It's a great stock to have, or great ETF to hold. The S&P seems to keep going up, and I know they've averaged about 8% over the last 30 years. And so you're going to get a great return investing in the S&P 500, and this is a great way to do it at a super low cost. Other thing, dividend, they're paying in 1.88% dividend, and so you're still getting some dividend as well. I would recommend doing that dividend on reinvestment if you can. If you want to have that income, then awesome, pull it out. But reinvesting those dividends, that's going to continue to increase how much money they're paying you, as well as your overall exposure in that fund. So yeah, there's my first 2, VGT and VOO, both Vanguard funds. So let's get into number 3. So number 3 is XSD. So this is mostly going to be a semiconductor or ETF. So a semiconductor space. They also are in the renewable energy space, but I really like where this one's going in the future. I feel like semiconductors is where a lot of people are putting their money right now because of the amount of technology need we have right now and how much those semiconductors are used in basically every device we have. The device you're using right now has several different semiconductors in it, and so let's get into the details with this ETF. So their top 3 holdings are going to be AMD, Synopsys, and SunPower. So you can kind of get an idea. Obviously, AMD, Advanced Micro Devices, they've been the best performing chip stock over the last 3-4 years, maybe even 5 years. They've done really well, and I think they just released earnings the other day. Continue to be successful there. The expense ratio for this one's going to be a little more expensive. It's going to be 0.35%. I just love the exposure it gives you in the renewable energy space as well as the semiconductor space. So you get to participate in those gains without having to just pick stocks and stuff. A little more information about it. Dividend is pretty small. It's at 0.48%. Most of these companies are in growth mode. They're not in an established mode. Some are, obviously, that's why you're getting some dividend, but they're more in the growth mode. When these renewables, especially when they develop more, they're going to be able to be in a position to where they can pay quite a bit dividend. And so I imagine that increasing over time. Anyway, you guys, those are my top 3 favorite ETFs right now. Once again, we'll go over them. VGT, VOO, and XSD. Those are the ticker symbols. Feel free to check them out, learn more about them. Once again, this is just my personal opinion. If you have different opinions, I'd love to hear from you. See what your favorite top 3 ETFs are. But if you're not already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I hope to have more videos like this coming out soon, so stay tuned. But thank you so much for taking the time to watch this, and hope it brought you some value today.